when I first started my page, I started getting a few people asking for like, piddle videos, like peeing stuff.
Okay.
And I'm actually, so the OnlyFans platform actually doesn't allow any kind of excrement video content. Like you're not.
You can anal fist, but make sure nothing comes out when you're pulling out the
Make
hand.
sure it's clean. Somebody really wanted me to like shit on the floor. He's like, he's like, don't worry, you don't have to play with it. Like that.
Like you're gonna make a sandcastle with it? Like, what do you mean I don't have to play with it?
I'm not sure, right? I had one person just asking for me to create like real-time content while I was at work. They wanted me to go in the back room and do things and film them during my workday.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it's like your boss undercover.
Can I ask a personal question?
Absolutely.
How much did you make in a month?
We're super excited to have on our first OnlyFans girl.
Woo!
More than that, you do many things. You're juggling like hairdressing. You have your marriage. You have a new puppy.
Music.
You have music coming out. That's your first album, right? That you put out formally, or have you put out more? That's the first one I heard about the whole way through since I met you. But
yeah, that was the first like full length, I guess, EP that I put out. And other than that, I've released some pretty atrocious and very embarrassing singles over the years. But that was the first project that I kind of was like, woo, I get behind this. Yeah.
So that one's the good one. See, that's like our first few videos.
Yeah. That's like my first few comedy sets.
But that's good. That means you're in the place where it's all going to be stuff you're really proud of now. That's really exciting.
And it's par for the course to look back on past things and be really embarrassed about it. I think that's kind of the way that it's supposed to go. You know?
It's like that with any art. It's just like you have to be embarrassed or else you haven't gotten better.
You haven't grown. Exactly. That's true.
I feel like your Instagram page is just a big piece of art as well. Every post is so artful, and I just wanted to get I want to hear from you. How would you describe your aesthetic on your content on Instagram?
Sexy as fuck? No, I'm just kidding.
Check.
I feel like I like the idea of like, for me, what I look for when I'm like creating content or when I'm creating things for shoots is for it to be, to have somewhat of like, celebrate my sexuality, but do so in a way that is artful. So like, I don't want it to be just like a photo of me being like, oh, look at my body, look at this. I want it to be something that people look at and kind of evokes a reaction or an emotion, hopefully.
Because you do have really cool photo shoots. Like, where do you find the inspiration for those photo shoots? Is it a collaboration with them, or you just brought an idea?
I think it's sort of a combination of the two. Like, oftentimes, like, I'll come up with concepts and then pitch them to photographers and we'll create them together. But sometimes people come to me with equally interesting concepts and we'll create those too. So it really just sort of depends on the day, And
you find most of these people in Vancouver, right? Or
all of them actually.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
I mean, there's a lot of talent in Vancouver. So are they finding you through Instagram?
Yeah, I moved to Vancouver 7 years ago, and I did my very first ever shoot with a guy. His name is Torque, TDJ Photo. And from there, it kind of snowballed. Like I posted the photos, and then people kind of started reaching out to me, and I was doing a lot of TFP shoots and collaborations. And then from there, sometimes people wanted to pay me, which was kind of cool.
Oh,
and
awesome.
it kind of grew from there. And there's sort of an interconnected community of like creators and photographers here in Vancouver, and it's all kind of connected, and I somehow managed to get into that, so that's been pretty fun.
Yeah, it's so cool, and I really admire that you most of your photos are unedited, if not all. I don't know if it's like depends on the photographer.
Yeah, you don't look like a cartoon.
Yeah, but it's so refreshing. Yeah. It's just something that is so rare on the platform for like an influencer, especially with like, it's all like saucy photos where you're exposing your body. Like it's not easy to just put yourself out there without any touch-ups. So it's definitely something that is very refreshing.
No, it certainly isn't. I think there's like a level of editing that's okay. I mean, if I have a bruise or a pimple or whatever, fine, what have you, that's fine to take out. But I found I've done shoots in the past where you look at the photos and I wind up comparing myself to photos of myself.
Oh my God.
Which is not a good feeling. You know what I mean? You're like, wait a minute, I don't look like that. So I think it's important to keep it authentic. And how many times are we scrolling through and we're like, oh, if only I had that jawline or that waist or whatever. And that person doesn't have that either. So I think it's toxic as fuck, you know? So I try not to do it. Yeah.
Cause like, and I bet you get a lot of female followers because of that.
You know, actually it's a pretty like even split. It's a 50-50 split. Yeah, which is pretty cool because it's, you know, it's nice to know that women appreciate that too. And it's not just a bunch of like, you know, leering men. So that's nice.
It makes me, it honestly makes me feel really good when I look at your content because I'm just like, this is, I mean, I also am like, wow, she looks really good with no editing. I wish I looked that good with no editing. But it's also just like, sometimes it's just nice to see that someone has pores and it just makes you feel more confident about you taking photos of yourself, you know, like anyway, I can't tell you how many times like I am consciously aware that a photo is edited sometimes and I know it, but it still does the damage anyway. It's so stupid.
No, it does. That's what I meant when I said earlier. Like I've received shoots where I'm literally looking at this and I'm like, oh, I must have been 15 pounds lighter with like 3 inches more ass 3 weeks ago. What happened to me? You know what I mean? Like that's like, yeah, it's a super toxic vibe. It's not good. You know, I think we should be able to look at photos of ourselves that are, and a little bit of retouching is fine, like light and shadow, like I said, like pimples, what have you. But like we should be able to look at ourselves and be like, wow, I'm really beautiful. Look how great I look, and be able to celebrate that and be authentic. You know,
there's a big difference between changing lighting and removing a pimple and like warping your body, right?
Totally. I think the best part too is how poorly people do it. You know what I mean? Like the wall is like.
But guys don't know. Like, they really don't. So stupid.
They don't look at that. No. The ladies though, we're looking at that. You know, like wait a minute, something's off here. Yeah.
What has been some of your favorite shoots you've done, and why?
Okay, one of my favorite shoots that I did was with a photographer. His name is Rennet, and we did a shoot in a sort of post-apocalyptic shoot in a gas mask in the ocean.
Oh yeah, that was really cool. That was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, probably was like the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. I swear I nearly drowned. Like it was so just discombobulating to have like my eyes and my ears and my face covered, and the mask has like a filter on the mouth. So a few times like I took a wave and water came in and. Anyway, I thought it came out really cool and it had like a super spooky vibe, which I was super into. I'd never done anything like that before. So I think that's probably one of my all-time favorite shoots.
That was pretty epic. You're like, when I had my face covered and I couldn't see or hear anything. It was like the most challenging. So it's good. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Aside from modifying your body online, you don't do that, but you have done some body modification. You have some new tattoos on you there, and you've also had a crazy reaction with some fillers. And I was just wondering if you could like talk to us or and give us an understanding of kind of why you went about that and what your advice would be to women who are looking to do the same thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty open about all the things that I've done, and I think that like first and foremost, transparency is super important. If you're going to get Botox or filler or breast implants or whatever, it's really important that we're open and honest that we're doing that, so we're not creating unrealistic expectations. So first and foremost,
the Kylie approach.
Yeah,
denies it all.
Totally. Like these are my natural lips. What do you mean? It's like, girl, you're not feeling anyway. So for myself, like I'm 35 years old and I think, you know, I never want to look like somebody else. I just want to like stop here. Like, this is just good. You know, I just want to like stop the aging process. So I feel like for me, it's more just like, you know,
35 for life.
Yeah, exactly. Slow things down a little bit. But, you know, I do still want to do things in a graceful way. So I try to keep it pretty minimal, like Botox a little bit here and there. Yeah. I did have that horrible experience, not actually with filler. It was having filler dissolved. So I was having
filler dissolved.
That's right. So I had gotten filler. I had gotten under eye filler thinking that this was going to make me look, you know, 25 again. Yeah. And I absolutely hated it. And I think that women should be aware of that. Filler isn't as easy as what it seems like when you look at it on a photo. And it's not as temporary as you think either.
It's not temporary, people. It lasts for years. That's kind of news, though. That just came out. But I also got under eye filler, and in the procedure, I fainted and had like a mini seizure. Yeah. Oh so not like a seizure for like a big one, but just like a mini. I mean, it's still like a mini one, but you know, like it was so scary. It's such a scary place to go fuck around with. I've heard of people having filler put in accidentally, very easily behind the muscle of the eye, so they can't even dissolve it. But tell us your experience. So you didn't like the look, and that's why you went back in, or?
So I'd gotten this filler. It was sort of like beginning of the pandemic. I didn't like it. What ended up happening is it sort of like bubbled. It looked strange. Anyway, I waited like a year thinking, oh, it's going to dissolve, right? Nope, it didn't. It just sort of migrated down my face and got worse.
It migrates.
Sorry?
It migrates. Filler migrates. That's what people don't realize. It's if you have it here, it means it's not that it dissolves and is gone. It just only, so like, it's not like it lasts 3 months and then it dissolves and it's gone. It's like it lasts 3 months and then it just migrates. And then you add more.
What is filler? What's filler made out of?
So there's a couple different options, but most commonly it's hyaluronic acid.
So acid's just going into your face and spreading
changing the shape and then making you look fatter.
It's the same sort of thing that your skin typically has naturally to create like moisture and plumpness. Like so it's a naturally existing thing. But anyway, to dissolve hyaluronic acid, they use a chemical called hydrolanase that essentially if you had filler, you want it out, they inject it under the skin and it dissolves. So I'm thinking, I'm tired of this under eye filler. It's been a year. I'm going to get rid of it. And within, I don't know, an hour, my face looked like, I don't even know, like I'd been stung by 1,000 bees. It was terrifying. I had an anaphylactic allergic reaction to it. Pretty scary shit, you know, because you don't think about that. You think when you go into these clinics and you get these injections, it's such a like simple, easy thing. But there are risks too, you know. We just don't talk about them.
It's an instant fix, is what they're sharing, and then it's like, and if you want to, you just dissolve it. It's so easy. And then it's like, not so easy for everyone. There's a risk to everything.
Totally.
Well, what happened? So how quick did that happen?
Probably within an hour. I remember I came home and my husband looked at me and was like, what the fuck? Like, that doesn't look right. I was like, little swelling is normal. And then I laid down on the couch, got up 50 minutes later, looked in the mirror, and I was like, oh shit, this isn't good. Like, this can't be right.
That looks terrifying. You look like a different human being, and you went from wanting to tweak a little something to being like, oh my god, I may look like a freak for the rest of my life.
It looked like
terrifying.
It looked like you were in a UFC fight with like zero training. It was just like
yeah, I did look like that. Yeah, it was funny. I remember I walked into the hospital and this eye was completely swollen shut, and this one was on the brink of swollen shut.
God.
And the girl was trying to tell me that I had to change my mask. Like, you have to take off your filthy fabric mask and put on like their nice clean one. And I literally couldn't comprehend anything that was happening because I just couldn't see. And I'm like feeling around. She's going to hand me the mask. I'm like accidentally grabbing her breast. It was just not a good experience.
What did you tell yourself in that moment? Like, how did you stay calm?
Just grabbing her breast.
Honest to God, I don't know, because I walked there. There was so much traffic. My husband was doing something across the city. There was no way he was going to be back in time. And I started to get like a little bit of throat symptom. And I have anaphylactic allergies to peanuts. So I'm familiar with what that feels like. Okay. So I just knew like, this is a relatively time sensitive situation. I better get my ass to St. Paul's. It's maybe a 6-minute walk from my house.
Oh, good.
So I don't know. I just was like, fuck, I have to get there. I didn't really think anything, you know? I wonder what people thought when they saw me on the street though. I must have looked insane, but.
So what would your advice be to women who are looking into getting any procedures in terms of like body, I don't know what you'd call that, like injectables or surgeries?
I think it's really important, number one, to do your research. And I think number two, realistic expectations. You know, like I don't think it is in any way helpful to anyone to walk in with a photo of Kim Kardashian and say, I want to look like this. That's not what's going to happen. Yeah. The idea is to sort of enhance things that you have. And you know, like I said before, definitely make sure you're going to a good doctor, a good injector, somebody who's going to be there to support you in the event that things do go wrong. Mm-hmm. In my situation, that wasn't really the case. So you want somebody there that's going to do that for you, for sure.
I feel like I've been tempted as well the time when I was most tempted to get surgery was actually when I was recently single after I like broke up with my ex-boyfriend. And I mean, I broke up with him, but I was just, I don't know, there's something psychologically where you just feel like when you're single, there's a whole nother layer to it. And I wonder if maybe that has something to do with it too, that like you are able to make these decisions so comfortably and confidently and not like have expectations to want to like change things, you know, maybe, I don't know. Do you find that has anything to do with it because you have a stable partner that can be like, hey, you don't need this, but like I'll support you with this or something, or I don't know.
I definitely think it helps.
Yeah.
I mean, for myself though, it's funny because I've never, like, I could be sitting here looking like absolute crap with zit cream on my face and he'll still tell me that I'm beautiful. I mean, he's lying, obviously, but he'll still say it. I feel like all these things that I do for myself more than for anyone else. And I've always sort of been that way. It's never been about what anyone else thinks. It's really about how I feel about myself, which sounds
let's get into that. So with the boob job, like a lot of girls want to get boob jobs. I'm not here to stop anyone.
I don't need more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel now since you got your boobs done? So like, do you feel different? Is like,
honestly, I think it was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Good.
Like I think
I'm
it was
sound biting that one.
It was a good decision. I mean, gravity takes its toll on everyone. You know what I'm saying? Like that happens. And I think it was something that I wanted just to sort of rewind the clock a couple of years and also make them, a little bit bigger because why not? You're there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true about gravity. I'm going to have to worry about that soon. I might have to get a sack lift when I'm 50.
They do exist, and they actually do put like fake ones in people as well. They put implants too. It's a total thing.
That'd be hilarious if I just show up like at home one day and I just have grapefruits in my scrotum.
I should start implanting that into your that insecurity into you and just be like, wish they were bigger. Just wish they were
Said no woman ever.
Look at these mandarins. Wish they were oranges.
I think also there is this, so I wanted to start to talk about OnlyFans here. I would love to learn more about what got you into OnlyFans. Like a stereotype of OnlyFans is like a single woman with like, in her room making these productions. Like it's very rare to think that someone is married and is on OnlyFans. And so we just find I think a lot of people would be interested in that relationship. Like how does your husband feel about you having an account?
I think the first time I brought it up, I was probably met with like a little bit of resistance, just because when you don't really know how the whole system operates, it sounds a bit threatening for sure.
Yeah.
But we're coming out, it's post-pandemic. Everybody's sort of taken a hit in terms of their income. And I mean, there's the option to make a decent amount of money on there. I think sort of the switch for my partner, was watching TikToks of this guy that interviews people with really expensive cars and, walking up to somebody in like a Maserati and they're like, oh my God, OnlyFans money. I think that probably was the initial sort of.
So it's the greed.
Oh, well, that sounds good. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, if you get a Maserati out of it.
He's like, let's get more cameras. We should be doing production on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll help you edit.
I think we need a boom mic. Let's get a boom mic on the top.
So I think that helped. And I think, it was sort of, for me, like I've always been very like open with my body and like open with my sexuality. So I think just being with me and knowing me, it's bound to come up eventually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah. And you guys get some hot pics together out of it too. Yeah. Like he gets to be involved every so often and be like, and by the way, she's mine. So.
Yeah. Well, and I think his favorite part is probably like the video content, because I oftentimes need a male counterpart. So that's it kind of works out for him too.
Oh, you guys do stuff together.
We have been, doing some things together.
That's awesome.
Nice. That's fun. Oh, that's fun.
So he gets to start it too. Yeah.
Who are your fans like? How would you describe your fans? What kind of people are they? Do you know them well? Do you have a good relation? Like, do you have a deep relationship with them?
I wouldn't call it deep.
Right.
For me, because I'm in a relationship and I only have so much emotional bandwidth. I'm not really in a position to like offer that girlfriend experience. That's not something that I really want to do. I offer a friendly experience and et cetera. But beyond that, that's sort of where I draw the line.
Yeah.
Majority of my followers or fans are amazing and like super pleasant and very polite and like, oh, thank you very much for that video. Yeah. Excellent. Like whatever, But then there's a couple that are annoying as fuck, of course.
Yeah.
There's always a few where you're like, oh my God, this person again. But
what do they do?
What do they do?
Oh, just like nonstop messaging. Like you're, like asking for, oh my God, I had one person just asking for me to create like real-time content while I was at work. like while I'm doing haircuts. It's like, oh, nothing.
Oh,
would
to
turn
just
me
like
on
film
more than if
yourself doing haircuts?
No. He wanted me to go in the back room and do things and film them during my workday.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it's
well,
like
no,
it's like your boss undercover.
Just to see if I'll do it. Yeah. Right?
This is a test.
Yeah, this is a test. Yeah, so that's a bit much, you know. It's like, okay, you're definitely pushing my boundaries here. Like you're
trying to make me uncomfortable, or like trying to make me do things that like it's like a weird kink thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah. What are some common kinks? Is there any surprises that you've gotten? Where like, oh
my god, how like crass can I be on this show?
This is YouTube, baby.
Crass AF. Okay, so when I first started my page, I started getting a few people asking for like, you know, piddle videos, like peeing.
Okay.
Pee.
Okay. And
that's big.
That's odd.
We were just listening. We were just listening to a podcast about that.
Call Her Daddy. That's where I heard it. It was Chloe, I think her name is, and she
Chloe Cherry or something like that? Chloe Blossom?
Cherry Blossom. Yeah, I didn't know her, but she was from Euphoria, and she did porn since she was really young.
Blonde girl, yeah.
She was just saying like, you know,
she said squirting isn't real.
Yeah, squirting isn't real. She was saying that people are always requesting pee videos, like it's a huge thing. So that you got a lot of that at first. I got
a fair bit of that, and I mean, I feel like actually, so the OnlyFans platform actually doesn't allow any kind of excrement video content. Like it's written in the guidelines. You're not meant to do that.
Wait.
Of course,
that's the line. That's the line. You can.
That's where they drop the line. Anal fisting is okay, but don't pee.
Do not pee.
That's the line. Yeah. So
and no poop either.
Yeah. You can
poop. That's actually
you can anal fist, but make sure nothing comes out when you're pulling out the
hand. Make sure it's clean. Yeah.
Cut it.
That's where I was going with this. That the conversation about me saying no to the pee stuff sort of transpired into the somebody really wanted me to like shit on the floor. He's like, don't worry, you don't have to play with it. Like that. Like, no, but I do have to clean it up. You know, like,
all right, how much, sir?
Yeah. You don't have to. You're gonna make a sandcastle with it. Like, what do you mean I don't have to play with it?
I'm not sure, right? I'm not sure what he was getting at with that, but I'm like, I feel like the reason that I'm not doing this isn't because I don't want to touch it. There's so many more reasons before that one even comes into time.
Like, you have to be careful because this stuff, like, you have to be okay with it getting leaked, essentially, because it's online. Like, something you do have to have those boundaries.
Well, I think that's actually what's good about OnlyFans is that you're in control of your videos. So you could probably just delete your content. So, like, porn stars in the past, they would have to worry about their kids 10 years down the road finding that on the internet. But because it's OnlyFans, you're ready to have kids, you don't want them to see it, you just delete it.
Well,
it's not like your boss is going to show them those clips.
I'm of the belief that you should never create any kind of content that you would be mortified if it got out. Like if somebody saw
you don't want your kids seeing you you don't want your kids seeing you bang.
I mean,
they'll walk in on it. Let them see it live.
Of course not. But I think at the end of the day, like if you're going to create that kind of thing, there is a level of risk that might circulate or get out there. Yeah. And I feel like you need to own it and be okay with that because. Yeah, I mean, I thought about that long and hard actually before I started doing it. I'm like, if all of this leaks and say it winds up like at my grandma's house, what will my reaction be to that? And I think I personally, because the OnlyFans platform allows for the ethical creation and consumption of porn content, I'm okay with it. I don't think there's anything shameful about what I'm doing. Of course, I don't want my family to see that because that would be uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, I'm not apologetic about it, you know? So I don't feel that I need to hide it from anyone.
Well, yeah, you're going to bang your husband anyway, so might as well make a buck out of it.
May as well make a couple bucks. Exactly. Exactly.
It's not like you're being promiscuous and like going to the bars and looking for talent. It's just you and your husband at home.
And also Instagram keeps taking your shit down. It's like, what do they want you to do? Instagram, totally. You are slapping me across the face here. Yeah. I'm gonna go make money off of it. Like that makes sense.
They're really forcing me into a corner, and that's
like a nipple.
So
I'm gonna.
The wall on OnlyFans is where I like essentially share like a lot of like professional photo shoots. But now I get to sort of lean into the erotic art side of things, which is super fucking fun. You know, I've always wanted to do that, and I've never been able to do it before, or it wouldn't be the focus of a shoot because I have nowhere to share it.
And you don't have to worry about having like a dirty manager trying to like some squeezy fat guy where it's like you're gonna be a star, kid.
Yeah, exactly.
You just gotta do it just once.
Well, you've also matured like enough that I feel you can make these decisions so consciously. I feel like a lot of women and you're also doing it in a way where you have it's an extension of an art form that you've kind of mastered now, which is like your modeling and working with these photographers and that kind of thing. Like you've had that creator and photographer relationship like so many times that you get it. Whereas there are so many young women who are going into OnlyFans when they're like 18, and I can see how that like they might get sucked into doing the shit on the floor video, right? Yeah. Like they might, I don't know. Like what's your opinion on that? Like, do you think that it is a lot different now that you've kind of had experience in life? Like, and definitely. You have a solid partner? Definitely. Yeah.
I would consider myself to be a pretty strong person with a really clear understanding of what my own boundaries are. And I think that's something that came with time. I wasn't that way 10 years ago, even maybe 5 years ago.
Right.
So that's definitely a tool to have in your toolbox before you decide to start creating that kind of thing. I would worry about I'm sure there's some creators on OnlyFans that are 18 that are making great decisions, but I'm sure there are some that feel pressured into it as well. And that's unfortunate, or that end up doing things that they don't want to do. That's unfortunate. I think for myself, I couldn't have done this then. Like I couldn't have done this when I was 20. I didn't have that in me to do it or the confidence. Cause it's like, it's a pretty revealing, intimate thing, like it takes a lot, so.
Well, I have known you a long time. Like you've always have been confident and you've always been caring towards others. But I think as you've gotten older, you've come across as more and more confident and more comfortable with yourself and who you are.
Well, thank you. Yes. And I think so too. And I wonder if that's something that has to do just with age in general. I mean, I hope so. I hope that everyone kind of grows into themselves. But
I think we know a lot of people our age that have regressed.
It's like, yeah, that's true.
yeah. But I think that's definitely like if somebody was like, what would be your advice to give to some, a young person starting OnlyFans?
Can I ask sorry?
No, go ahead.
Can I ask a personal question?
Absolutely.
How much did you make in a month?
So, I mean, the very first month was really lucrative. I think because I had a lot of people that were following me on Instagram for a long time that just wanted to know what my pussy looked like, to be frank. So I feel like the first month was really good. It was like, I was making bank. I won't give exact numbers, but I matched what my income was coming in from my other job in the first month.
Like month for month? Good. Like what you made in a month doing hairdressing?
Yeah. Wow. I sort of doubled by doing with I don't know, I think at that point I had 15 fans. So that was great. Jesus. I mean, these guys were making it rain, which was fantastic. Moving forward now, it's definitely harder. It's also like a full-time gig. Like you need to be creating content and putting things out there all the time in order to be making money. Yeah. So I think in my first month I was feeling super keen and I was really on the ball about it. But now, things have happened in my life where I just haven't had as much time or energy to do it. So now I'm not releasing as much stuff and it's slowed down a little bit, but it's a pretty, for the most part, I think it's a pretty steady, income every month, even if you just sort of like keep your memberships and whatever, you can do really well. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're just like kind of in the maintenance mode of like, just like putting things out like consistently, but then you might go through a phase where you do a lot of stuff and you might see an increase. Like it depends how much time you put 100%. Into it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what it is. You get out what you put in, really, right? So if you're in the mood to create a bunch of videos, then you'll make good money. But if you don't want to create any video content, well, you're not gonna sell anything. You know what I mean? So
and how would you describe the content that you create for your OnlyFans? You don't have to be too like revealing because I know people need to pay.
Whoops, sorry.
But no, it's a good sell. Like So like, how would you describe it?
I think
promote it.
I sort of always had this like thought going into it that I wanted it to look. I hate this word because it makes me sound like a total douchebag, but I wanted it to look expensive. I wanted my photos to look expensive and quality. I didn't want pictures of me in the mirror. You know what I mean? Yeah. I wanted something that was tasteful and artful. So that is how I would describe my content. Like my entire feed, majority of it is professional photos, and even self shoots, there's still like an artful vibe to it. Yeah. So it's not, to me that makes it feel I think that just makes it more interesting to me. You know, it appeals to me more that way because it does get to have this kind of like, artful feel. So that's how I would describe it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's sort of like a similar continuation of your Instagram vibe where you're like not editing things as much and you're just like putting artful pieces together. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. I would say it's similar just with like more like butt plugs. You know what I mean? Like insert butt plug.
Instead of a gas mask, there's a butt plug.
And I did like where you were going. I wanted to just, maybe we'll end on that, but like what advice would you give to women who want to start doing what advice would you give to women who want to start an OnlyFans?
I feel like the number one most important piece of advice is it's not easy money. I think people think that it is, and it's not. The other thing is, to have, like I said earlier, to have a very clear, defined understanding of what your boundaries are, because people will push you. And I think it's super important to kind of, hold your guns on
how do they push you?
What you're not comfortable doing.
Can you give an example of how you'd be pushed?
It typically starts with like a request for one kind of video, and then it sort of goes from there. And then the descriptions of said videos get more and more grotesque as time goes on. And if the person is paying you and giving you money, it's sometimes you're like, oh, another $100. Oh, another $100. It can be really easy to get sucked into that. And I think for me, I sort of, there's always a fear that if you say no, that person's going to leave. But quite frankly, if that person doesn't respect my boundaries, I don't fucking want their money anyway. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day,
that's a good lesson to teach. It's just like, you know what? If they don't respect your boundaries, the money's not worth it. Because then they're not a fan. They don't respect you.
And that's any business. And that's because you've had this, you've had your hairdressing business for so long. Like you understand that if somebody's a horrible client, that's not worth your energy, right?
No.
So, I'm sure that happens all the time with hair because people are so freaking picky about it.
It definitely happens.
Body and everything, right? Yeah. So that probably set you up really well. It definitely helped.
I also feel like over the last 10 years of having an Instagram page helped too. My blocking finger is overdeveloped. You know what I'm saying? Anything I don't like, get the fuck out of here.
So ladies, that's a big piece of advice. The block button is your friend.
The block button is your friend. Button.
You remove followers. You remove. Keep your network clean or not clean. Keep your network supportive. Keep your network supportive
and respectful. And I think that's one of the things too. Just because I'm posting quasi nude content on Instagram, or just because I'm posting pornographic content on OnlyFans, doesn't mean that I don't deserve respect and to be treated that way. So if anybody doesn't want to treat me that way, then that's the thing. It's nobody has to put up with that. That's the beauty of technology. We're in charge of who has access to us, and I don't have to give everybody access to me.
Totally.
And actually, I kind of want to end on this. Do you have any more funny kink stories? Did anyone ever ask you to dress up as a furry?
As a what?
As a furry?
No, not yet. Although I feel like that would be fun. If somebody would buy me a big squirrel costume, I'd fucking go for it. I'm into that.
It'd be like, this is in the category of what I'm okay with my grandma seeing.
Exactly. Squirrel. But she would know. She'd be like, what a cool mascot costume. Well, she'd have no idea what's going on.
Poor Bruno comes home, you're dressed as Big Bird. Let's
remember the cars.
Think of the cars.
Think of the cars. You gotta put this on.
Go put on the Cookie Monster suit.
He's like, this isn't my thing.
I feel like probably the strangest request was the excrement request, but there is a lot of just everybody wants to see your butthole, and I don't know. I don't know.
I'm dead set against Rebecca never seeing my butthole.
We're engaged, and he won't let me see it, and I'm really annoyed. That's different.
You got to sneak up on him.
I've tried. It's borderline homophobic, Alfie.
Come on, Alfie.
How protective you are. But that makes sense to me that they want to see your butthole. That's
Does it?
I don't know.
I was surprised at just the volume of butthole requests.
Okay.
I was like, this is a lot of people.
How do they want to see it? They just want you to take like go to the bathroom and take a selfie of your butthole?
Yeah, they want like close up like pictures of butthole. Yeah, it's like it's probably the most frequent request that I get. Like I probably
weird.
Get that more than anything else. Isn't that shocking?
Yeah. It actually
I was
is
surprised
weird
by that.
because like vaginas are so much more
nice.
Beautiful.
Well, I prefer seeing that because I don't have one. Like I got a butthole and it's nice. You just don't know.
Well, you wouldn't know.
It's beautiful, Rebecca.
One day.
Maybe our wedding night.
Maybe for like your 25th wedding anniversary. That would be like his gift to you. You know?
He doesn't want to give away the milk.
It's like, I'll show it. It's like a beautiful rose, and like the day before it's about to wilt, I'll let you see it.
Why? Oh my God. Well, thank you so much.
On that note, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us.
You're most welcome.
I don't know if there was anything else you wanted to mention but I mean, that was really helpful. I think there's so many ideas out there of what OnlyFans is, and there's and I think it's really important to hear from someone who's approached it in the way that you have. Like, I think that it's just so nice and refreshing to have somebody that is not only standing up for, like, standing against these crazy norms of like photoshopping and all of that, but also being I think a lot of girls who are thinking about starting an account are going to find this episode very, very helpful, because you are someone who kind of has it all, and you're not just like relying on this platform. You're able to use it as a extension of like your brand, essentially.
Yeah.
And like, I love that if I were to hop on it, I don't think I would be like shocked, or I wouldn't think any different. I would be like an extension of what we know about you, right?
Totally. Yeah. Authenticity. I mean, that's what people want anyway, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks, Noelle.